Hello everyone. Today I'm going to try to attempt to answer the question, what is the rarest pet in Animal Jam Play Wild? I'm not going to go by looks, I'm going to go by rather the number that this pet exists in the wild. So, sorry, if your pet on this list is low, it doesn't mean it's rare, it just means a lot of people have it. So, hope you all enjoy. The lowest pet on this list is the all-around bee. It's for gems, so everyone has at least one, I would say. Even the new jammers get one if they play in August. It's the least rare pet out there. Next, I would say the next least rare is a tie between available exotic pets and in-store pets. They both exist in crazy amounts. I would say they're probably equal in worth. The most normal token pets are worth slightly more than an in-store pet because it takes 100 sapphires to get the token, obviously. So they're all equal in standards there because they all have equal rates. Next up, I would say, is dinosaurs and dinosaur eggs. Dinosaur eggs are a little more than normal dinosaurs because of the whole you don't know what you're going to get, but otherwise these pets are worth 250 or less. This doesn't mean level-wise, I'm just talking about numbers here. Next up on the least rareness is seasonal pets. They come back every year, so it's expected that they come back. The only time that this didn't happen was last October when bats didn't come back and instead had the spooky pet tokens. So technically there are less bats than the other seasonals, but otherwise they're pretty much equal. I would say next up are specifically the Night of the Phantom and Epic Gemolide Bundle default pets. They all look exactly the same and they were released. That's all I have to say. Yeah, they're not that rare. So next up are out-of-store pets that were in-store for a long time. So the one in-store for longest was the Firefly, that totaled 24 months in store. Next up was a Monarch Butterfly for 23 months. Then after that was Poodle for 16, Rockhopper for 14, and Polar Bear, Goat, and Pony for 13 months each. Fennec Fox was in for 12 months, Zebra, Cardinal, and Praying Mantis were in for all 11 months. So these are technically more abundant than other pets that were released normally, with a 10-month release period, which is what we're talking about next. Megan's Bears are going here. They were only released for a month, but they're released for gems, so many people bought a lot of them, myself included. I had about 3 compared to my 1 or 0 of other pets, so that means that this is not as rare. After this point, most pets are normally released at a 10-month schedule. I'm not going to name all their names because that would be like at least 70 pets, so I'm not going to name all of them. But in most cases, when a pet is released, they are released for 10 months only to be put on sale and then gone, sometimes forever. So that's what happens. Those pets that we just said before it that are less rare than these were re-released, which means that they were available for more than the 10 months. Here I'll talk about re-releases that were on a smaller scale, only about for a month. So Chipmunk was released for a month, Lion was released for a month, Rhino was released for a month. Both were summer safari pets and only had a short time span in store. So I'm not re-recording it, but Lot Bunny is also out for 13 months, so they belong back further than the Fennec Fox. Some pets with smaller release periods. 9-month release periods were Hedgehog, Jerboa, and Cobra. And then 8-month release periods were Honey Badger, Pangolin, Snow Leopard, and Sugar Glider. Both of these have smaller release schedules than the normal 10 months, so that means they're technically rarer. Pet snowmen were around for 8 months in store, and then before that was peacocks were released for 6 months in 2017. Snowy owls went 6 months out of store, which is a bit odd. Tarantulas were released for 1 month in 2017 and then came back for 2 months in 2018, meaning they've been only released for 3 months total. Hippos, I almost said piglets, were released for only 2 months during the summer safari, which was a very weird event, by the way. The summer safari, which was only August and September, so these things did not get a re-release, but their toys are still in store for some reason. Odd. The existence of spare accounts could make this worth less than Hippos, for example, but I am keeping them up here because they're only available for 1 month, after all. This also goes for pet geckos. Rare pet geckos, that is. Glowworms from their tokens were only available for 13 days, meaning they are pretty rare. Though, all glowworms are a token, after all, so technically they're also worth as much as a token. Santa Claus were in a similar but different method as the snowflake penguin, but the difference between this one and the snowflake penguin was this one had a glitch that allowed you to send infinite pets, basically, as much as you owned. So these things aren't worth crazy much. Midnight Kitties were released for 1 day during 2019, and then they were re-released a year later for 4 days because of a glitch. So, number-wise, custom phantoms were only available for 1 month, which means that they're pretty rare to find number-wise, technically. Not counting Sapphire Inflation, roosters were only released for 1 month, which means they are around the same level of numbers as custom phantoms, which is interesting. Frankenpups were only available for 4 days through a token, and they're randomly generated, which doesn't affect their worth number-wise, but, I mean, that's something interesting. Golden eggs are still available, but the chance to get one is so slim that they're still pretty rare. Number-wise, there's probably not that many of them up there. 1 per member account could be sent out for snowflake penguins for expeditions, so there's not that many of them. Also not that many of, and also an exotic pet, there aren't that many jumping spiders, only being at most 10,000, but there will never be fully 10,000. The reason why? Well, it's because people like me like to keep the vials unhatched, and they only made 10,000 or 9999 black vials. So, yeah, there will never be a full amount of jumping spiders in the game. Custom spotted lab puppies were only available for 1 day, but because it was advertised as only a 1-day thing, they were bought in many amounts. And because it was 2020, Sapphire Inflation already happened because shops existed, but I'll talk about that later in the video. A product of a disposable society, prize pals are almost extinct. And knowing the rates of accounts going on, there are about 25,000 accounts every month that get the 31-day reward. So that means there's way more than 25,000 of these, right? Well, remember, most of them got sacrificed, so who knows how many there actually are. We'll never know. And they're always decreasing. Animal Jam promo pets are probably the most obscure out of the rare pets, except for what's coming up next. But, they don't exist, many of them. So that's the Galactic Firefly and the Magenta Kitty. And remember, those boxes also cost $30, so. Rare gold reindeers were only given out through an Instagram contest, so there's only about a few hundred of them available, not a complete number even. That means they're rarely rare. Before we go on to the rarest pet, I will like to talk about Sapphire Inflation. 2016 pets are rarer than 2021 pets because the sapphire market has gotten more inflated over time. One sapphire is worth way less now than it was in 2016, especially when you still have to buy them with. And the rarest pet is 2016 B? What? Kind of trolling, but not. 2016 Bs were actually available for 1 month for 50 sapphires. So, if you ever thought, oh yeah, I'm definitely not going to buy a B for 50 sapphires, well, think again, because people did back in 2016. And remember, yes, the sapphire did inflate in value. So, that means that a sapphire back in 2016 was worth way more than a sapphire now. Which is weird. Haha, sorry, I had to do a little trolling. Yeah, the rarest pet's the golden reindeer. I mean, that's what you expected, right? By numbers. Obviously, demand exists, so these don't really matter whatsoever. But I hope you enjoyed and thought it was interesting. And if you like my content, then why not subscribe? And with that, this is Brad Stormer, storming out.